Now, I just watched the video of Anastasia Lin, um, and I'll put the links down below. And it's about, China and human rights and things like that. Now, I know this topic is very, very political correctness, very, very political in China. And I hope this, anyways, my channel never blow up anyway, so there's nothing much for me to really worried about. But when the interview panel has stated why China has outcompete or taken over the world's manufacture hubs. And Anastasia's response was there's 600 labor camps, forced labor camps, and prisoners, pretty much as prison, if you have to put in another word. And they were not criminals, and they were either coming from, political, or coming from Falun Gong, or the Uyghurs, or the minority groups that the Chinese people or the Chinese government believe that these type of groups that should be put in jail for no criminal act, but going against the government or the social order. All right, I think that's a good term for doing that. And they use them to use forced labor, as she mentioned, and work so hard, cost less to nothing, goods. They've been working long hours and torture. And absolutely, if you have to put another set, is free. Pretty much free labor if you have to put another sense to think about it. When she mentions that, I had to pause the video and look back what has China did. When I studied social work, the first thing that I ever have to learn was the history, how social welfare or social work came by. And I could see the correlation from the forced labor camp, cost cheap to nothing, to the working house or the poor house in the Britain. Why Britain during that stage were the most advanced in so-called industrial revolution, or began or started the industrial revolution. They were the superpower during that time. And when the first generation working house was run by the charity, the second generation working house was run by the government. Now, a bit of sense of what is a working house. So, in the Western world, if you wanted to receive unemployment welfare, um, you have to do something in return. For example, you do, job search, or do some trainings, or volunteer your time to work in sort of services, or etc. There's some activities along the line for order for you to get a welfare. Workhouse is, back then, jobs can be seasonal, and it can come on and come off. It's not stable. There's a large number of unemployment. What the British government has learnt, and how to utilize this type of group of people, was to make them, okay, the first generation, you pretty much, you come to this place, there's free accommodation, food, and things like that. In return, you do some bit of work, right? In the second generation was the same thing. However, the government makes you to work the worst of the worst job and duties that nobody wanted to do, the hardest of the hardest. So when Anastasia mentioned about forced labor camps and not working anything, it's sort of correlation with that in my mind. And another topic was, using other countries and borrow a large amount of money, and if they can't do their monthly or weekly repayments, then they will cease foreclosure certain land or ports or wherever, or agriculture, seizing up to 150 years or 100 or 99 years lease. This absolutely mimics what's been happening in the past with Macau and as well with the Hong Kong, the Portugals and the English, what they did back then. So they've did a pretty good analogy, not breaking any laws or losing any blood, but it's a pretty goddamn good rule, man. But that's how I make the correlation with them too. That's all.